All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It's a special short Thursday Houston After Dark. Sorry I wasn't able to do a show yesterday. We'll do like an hour tonight. I don't think I have it in me to do 2 hours. It's been a long couple of days. We will do a normal show tomorrow. But the special news everyone wants to yik-yak about is the APE, what do they call it? AMC private equity, whatever it is, APE, that they want to have traded on the New York Stock Exchange. And it is a dividend share, a one-for-one dividend share that will have its own QSIP. It won't technically be a share of stock, but will still have voting power of a 1-to-1 ratio. And with the opportunity sometime in the future, via a board calling for a vote, to fold in all those shares and essentially create a gigantic float in the end. But what this APE share should do is avoid what the DTCC has done with GameStop, which is label it a forward split so that they can use the SFT to basically do the nightly repos to give people fake shares that shouldn't exist and roll it over night after night with them paying interest on it. They weren't supposed to do that. You're not supposed to be able to do that for a dividend share. But because they deliberately did not label a dividend share, even though it should be, they got away with it. Now, they're not going to be able to do that with something that's a completely different QSIP number, such as this APE thing that AMC is going to be doing. So I'm very curious. The timeline is really short. We're looking at 2 weeks. The 19th is when it goes out. And I think if you buy on the 22nd, you'll still get some. So that's Monday. I'm very curious to see how it rolls out and what happens. Now, there's some people saying that Adam Aaron's going to use it to generate tons of liquidity so that the shorts can cover. I don't necessarily know that's what's going to happen without them first getting their asses handed to them by whatever craziness occurs from this. They were really, like right after close today, they really tried to short down. They got down to $16 at one point and then bounced up to 17 something. But I think tomorrow and through probably the 19th, it's going to be looking pretty green as people try to gobble up as many as they can to get whatever these APE things are going to be. So while we're chit-chatting, one of these. Ha! Haha, it's off. So the other one's off too. The other one's off too. Yay. Oh, I forgot about Monkey Butt on the Monkey Butt cam. Oops, I was staring at the bookshelf. And she went on the floor. Monkey's on the floor. She's on the floor next to the bed. Okay. So, yeah. That's all I got off the top. What do you guys, what's on your mind? My spinach puffs. J. King, Houston, thanks for the late night chance to sit and talk with you live. Once again, I appreciate late nights, and so do others here in New York City. Well, because it's only 2 in the morning for you, so the night is young in New York. Great. Houston, have you seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction? It's my fave Will Smith movie and probably his only non-comedy you should add to your list. I have not seen it. Although I did see it on, is it Netflix? I was scrolling through the other day, and I was like, what is that? I don't know if I'd ever heard of it. Like, movies that came out while I was in college, I only heard of, like, half of them. I didn't have, like, TVs giving me, like, movie trailers or anything, so I just missed, I was like, that was a movie? Let's see here. Lap 27, an APE, a good idea. Can we be shorted by your boy Kenny? Honestly, I don't know yet. They'll try. There won't be an options chain. So this new thing won't have an options chain at all. So it'll be kind of like costs. They'll have a hard time covering. So you may get steep price spikes as a result of those. In that 90-day limit, so this would be August 19th, so it'd be December. No, November 19th would be when it would go crazy. If it wouldn't go crazy ahead of then. So Justin says, think APE will have options from day one. I don't think it will. I think there'll be no options chain on it when it first comes out. It'll take a while for market makers to have enough shares to start developing options chains for it. So there'll be tons of them. There'll be 500 million of them. Any institution that's long will get a pile of them, so they might be able to develop options chains for them. But the first week or so, no. Probably take a couple weeks for the options chain to start building. Okay. Hamfingers Houston, is there any value to an APE share? Yep. It should be worth as much as an AMC share. You get the vote, you get profit, you get basically, it's like having two different shares on two different tickers for the same company is basically what it comes out to. I've never heard of this being the case. We heard of like Series A, Series B, Series C shares, things like that. We've got different shares with different voting rights and different powers. But I've not heard of a company trading on two different stock tickers. That's a weird one. And not pretty novel if you think about it. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to work out. Okay. Pacific Northwest Texan, APE offended or flattered by the name? I think it's funny. Yeah. Kronk, I think it'll turn into Dilution later on. I think it will in the end turn into Dilution later on, but for the moment, it's going to be a roller coaster. But I'm okay with that. Something weird to we need interesting things in our lives. So I normally am an Adam Aaron skeptic, but this time around, I think he may have solved the issue the DTCC had with screwing with the GME dividend. Now the GME shenanigans that the DTCC did, I think is exactly what Ryan Cohen was expecting. And this, if GameStop wants, this will give them the opportunity to go in and demand their shares from the DTCC, just recall all of them, and remove them from their platform. And will he do it? I give it 50-50. He'd be an absolute legend if he did. But it takes some big cojones to like remove your stock from the only system that trades stock and then going somewhere else with it. That's it's quite nuts. All right, I already lost where I am. Unbeast, Unabeast, Unabeast. Houston, I'm worried about my GME shares, seeing how German brokers just poof people's shares. I'm worried that for any reason, mine here in the U.S. too. So is now the time to start DRS? If you want to. That's cool. Do whatever you want, man. I'm okay with having synthetic shares. I'm okay with real shares because either way, they got to buy them from me. If they're going to be ever do any closing of their positions, they're going to have to do closing of positions eventually. The stock price right now bouncing got up to 39 at one point today. That's the equivalent of almost $156 a share, which is higher than we've seen for the past couple of months. So, that's or 156 pre-dividend. That's pretty darn high. And we're floating with going a little bit higher. So Ortex was this week, and the 19th. No, sorry. The XRT FTDs were this week, and 19th is going to be the Ortex FTDs coming due. So we may get a good pop then as well. They might try to short GME down next week, leading into the 19th. But they're going to do some buying on the 19th to cover positions. Okay. Wheat Wild. Is this the coordinates you were promising me that I would find super duper amazing? If you don't disappoint me. Don't you dare disappoint me. Oops, wrong one. That's the one. Okay. Google Earth. We're still in Liverpool. Okay, we're going tropics. We're going middle of the desert. We're going... Where are we? We're at a rectangle in a lava field. What the heck? Oh, they're water buffalo. That water buffalo, or what are these guys? Look like water buffalo. That's awesome. So there's a lava field. It's a very small lava field. I dig it. That's cool. How close in can I get to these guys before? That's pretty good resolution. I mean, look at that. Oh. I mean, we can see antlers on this thing. This is like 1-inch resolution. This is crazy. When I was doing my geography degree in college, the best satellite stuff we could get was maybe 1 meter. So each pixel was 3 feet across. And that was like awesome. And the previous generation, the best they get was 30 meters. So 1 pixel was 30 meters across, like 90 feet across was 1 pixel. And now I can see the spine ridges on one of these buffalo. That's wild. Hey guys, what's up? I can see individual leaves on this little bush. That's from space. That's awesome. Wait, Wild, you did not disappoint. I like that. Thank you. Oh, soapbox operator's got the island and a lake and island and a lake and island and a lake. This is the one up in like Baffin Island or something. Might as well. I think we've gone here before. There's another one that was similar. But so here we go. We're zooming in. So this here is, I think this might be 30 meter resolution. So you got an island in a lake. That's on an island that's in a lake. It's on an island that's in the ocean. And even then, if I remember correctly, I think there is, even on this island, there's like a pond right here, if I remember correctly. There's a pond on an island, in a lake on an island, in a lake on an island. It's in the Arctic Ocean. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. Enough maps for a moment. Not my name. Wall Street Bets is bashing this hard already, saying it's a dilution and just a backhanded way of adding more shares. It might be. It will ultimately be a dilution. But it will also cause issues with those who have to cover. Because this is a share no one will have access to that they'll have to provide. And they'll have to provide in 90 days or else face default. Because the QSIP is completely different. The ticker is different. It may screw them over. And then if it merges together, help them out in the end. But it's going to be interesting. I'm just going to sit back and watch, see what happens. Just from DAX. Seems like DTCC has made brokers unwittingly share in their risk, and now owe GME shares that they don't have. Yep. I think DTCC just screwed these guys over even more by telling them to label it a forward split and not a dividend split. That dividend split would have gone kaboom kablowy. People have been screwed. Now it's just a ticking time bomb again. I mean, everything they do is they set it, and it's got this delay fuse, and they manage to like stick another line of fuse in there. There's still a bomb at the end of it, and we're just waiting. Calls on lube. SJ Houston is the farting rhino on late night intro meant to be your stalker. That is exactly what Scott, I think, intended for that to be. My stalker immortalized in a farting flying rhino. Parataran, Houston. Hey man, been a while. King Gizzard just came out with a rap track. Sadie Sorceress slaps harder than coked out Ike Turner. King Gizzard, all right. It's called Sadie Sorceress. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the old Pandora. So in March, so if AMC has been oversold by the brokers, what's stopping them overgiving the APE? I doubt it'll make any difference either way. Well, the thing is that the brokers immediately won't have access to giving them away. That's the thing. So, and if they do set it up, the liability turns to the shorts who created the synthetic shares, the original synthetic shares, and they can't do swaps on that debt. It has to be paid 90 days or else. So, because it's already considered in default, and then it's basically default with punishment at 90 days, and you can't swap default. So, I think that's the one thing that AMC is going on this. Paratarian, Houston, any thoughts on where GME, RC go from here? Share recall. I think that's where RC goes from here. Again, 50-50, but I think share recall, putting their stock on their own blockchain and trading it there, I think is the future. And if they successfully do it, they'll be able to draw out a number of OTC and shorted stocks that should be trading higher, but shorts keep attacking them. Here's the thing about shorts. The entire reason a short position should exist is that you think the fundamentals of the company are so unsound that the stock price is currently overvalued. So you sell, hoping that the stock price drops down, and then you buy back later to repay your debts. What it has become is a self-fulfilling prophecy where you use the act of short selling to destroy a company, whether the fundamentals are there or not. Case in point, today. Stock price for AMC is going up in expectation of earnings. The market closes. They unleash 5 million shares they've been saving up to just short the shit out of this stock and drive the price down. Not because there's bad news coming, not because the company is going to be doing terribly. It's because they want to drive the price down. That's it. I see that as an abuse of the shorting system and not something that is of the fair market. So, to me, you wouldn't be able to do that on a blockchain system because you wouldn't, A, probably be able to borrow the shares even, and B, you'd have no ability to naked short anything. So you couldn't go out and objectively short something to destroy it. You could only sell and think that later on it might go down based upon natural mechanics. But yeah, it's I think the blockchain is the way to go, man. A pure chase. Oh, everyone's got coordinates for me tonight. It's a Thursday night coordinate night. I just didn't know it. Bam, bam. Okay, are we still in Canada? We are. We're going back to Calgary, or are we Edmonton? I wasn't paying attention. Oh, we got a giant for JJ. What's this big old JJ doing here? What are you? It looks like a college campus or something. What are you? This is Canada's hoo-ha? Well, it's a long, skinny building. It's a fancy building. It is definitely a JJ from space, though. Co. I can't read that. Jasmine Poon. So Jasmine Poon did this picture of the JJ. What city am I in? Am I in Calgary or am I in Edmonton? I wasn't paying attention as we flew in. I just recognized we're in Alberta. Calgary. Okay, that's Calgary's sniz right there. Thank you, Pure Chase. That was a pure JJ building right there. Colin Halligan wondering when you would chime in on this. Will this launch as an IPO or just show up on the market? That's a good question. Well, they applied for listing on the New York Stock Exchange. So I'm not sure the time scale and how long it takes the New York Stock Exchange to give them a thumbs up for that. But I think it will just kind of show up trading eventually, because it'll be in everyone's accounts and start trading, and not necessarily being released by big investment banks and sponsors of the IPO. I think it'll probably end up in people's accounts and then trade if it wants to trade. Paste Google Maps, please. This number, I have no idea what this will do. Okay. What do you weirdos have for me tonight? Get in there. Do that. Bam. Okay. We're flying. We're going somewhere. We are... Oh, God damn it. You got me. What coordinate system is that? It's not UTM. What is it you just gave me? Because I'm going to remember what that is. You screwed me there, SJ. You absolutely screwed me. Was that like a European coordinate system? What did he just gave me? Probably the Eye of Africa, and I didn't know I was going to end up here. Bastard. You bastard. There it is. There's the Eye of Africa. Cryptovolcanic structure. Son of a bitch. Grr. Gah, curses. Colin Halligan. Wondering when you chime in on this. We did that part. Okay. Andrew Dowell. Morning from Great Britain, Houston. This ape reminds me of... Oh, Big Tide. Big Tide. Was ape valued against? Well, the ape will act like a share of AMC, so it should trade equivalent to a share of AMC or thereabouts. I think BBig's problem was that BBig took forever to do their share offering. If they had done a share offering back when the stock was $6 or $10 and they'd offered Tide, it would have pushed that thing over. But because they kept pushing it off, they'd announce a date and push it off, announce a date and push it off. Now the shorts were able to take it down to like $1. And by then no one gives a shit anymore. And then when the Tide was released, it was supposed to be released at $10 a share. It came out at $2. So no one cared. And we'll see, when that 90 days come up, if anything happens with BBig and Tide. But I think BBig's value was so low at the time that the shorts may have been able to just buy stuff up and not cared. Colin Halligan, I know you don't want to talk about it, but a couple of apes YouTubers have been comparing it to metamaterial and MMTLP. It's going to be different. Namely because MMTLP represents a different company. Represents basically a company that was merged in order for them to have a NASDAQ listing. The ape equity blah 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 shares will be essentially AMC shares. They'll act just like AMC shares without being called AMC. They'll have voting rights, access to dividends, profits, whatever. With the opportunity of just calling them AMC shares in the future if everyone votes on it. That's the difference. Whereas MMTLP is a different company entirely. It is an oil company. And that's, that's what it is. It'll be an oil company. It'll be a private oil company until it's sold. But yeah. Mike Vlogs, 0.01. Yeah. That's par value. Every AMC shares have a par value of 0.01. GameStop has a par value of 0.01. Berkshire Hathaway has a par value of 0.01. Most shares have a par value of 1 cent, 1/10 of a cent, or 1/100th of a cent. And a par value is the nominal value that's put into a company when shares are created. And you want a low par value so that you can do cheap stock options for your officers. They can buy in to the company at essentially 1 cent and get their shares that way as bonuses. So if you've ever filed for a C Corp, for a company that makes stock, you fill out this paperwork, and they ask how many shares do you want? And you put 100 million. And then they say, okay, what's your par value? And you'll put a par value of 1 cent or 1/10 of a cent or whatever. And that's the amount of equity you need to put into the company before the state will allow your license to have shares. So you need to prove, let's say you're going to do 10 million shares. And you need to prove you have at least $1,000 in equity in your company before the state will grant your license and allow you to have your 10 million shares. If you do a par value of 0.0001 or whatever, that's what a par value is. So every stock trade in the market has a par value of like 1 cent or lower. That's just the way it is. So don't worry about that. It's a silly thing, but basically it means if you're at a company and you want to bring in a new CEO and you're like, hey CEO, we're going to pay you $50,000 a month and we're going to give you 1 million stock options. And they go, all right. Hey, big dumb idiots, shut up. And the new potential CEO might go, well, it's par value. Okay, your 1 million shares are at 1 cent each. And he's like, you mean I've got to pay $10,000 to get my 1 million shares? And you're like, take out your first month's paycheck. And he goes, sold. Then he gets the 10,000. There's 1 million shares for $10,000, and those 1 million shares might be worth $20 or whatever. So that's the whole par value thing. Just in my head, thought companies couldn't issue divvy with debt. Depends on the company and where it is. I think because AMC, this will be the second green quarter in a row for AMC, I believe. Weren't they green for one of them? I think they might be allowed to now offer a divvy. So that's probably they got debt, but I think their revenue is now high enough. Is it Kansas that they're registered in? I can't remember which state they're registered in, but it'll be some rule. Like there are companies with debt that can offer Amazon has debt, they can offer dividends. Apple has debt, they can offer dividends. But I think it has to do with how much debt you have compared to sales in the end, or revenue. Okay. JM, what was the catalyst for the VW squeeze? The fact that Porsche owned, 80% of the shares, I think? Yeah. The Porsche just gobbled up a bunch of shares. We're like, we own 80%. It's our company now. And then all the other companies that were short went, oh shit, all of our shares aren't real. And that caused the squeeze on VW. Ideas Matter 7707. Hey, Houston. Have you seen Market Moves' last video and how he ties CEI, Chamber Energy to metamaterial and MMTLP? That Kerrisdale Capital is shorting all three of them. Oh yeah, Kerrisdale is the ones that sued CEI via that Pomerantz law firm, whatever, who are the same ones who are suing metamaterial for no reason. Kerrisdale guys are a bunch of dicks, and their law firm Pomerantz are a bunch of dicks too. Basically, what they do is they take a huge short position, launch it out there, then they pay a fortune for PR guys, finance writers at Motley Fool and Alpha, whatever, and all those different Market Watch, Planet Money, all those things, and then they do a hit piece on metamaterial, and they say, "Oh, this company's garbage. They're terrible." They did the same thing with CEI. They're terrible. They're not worth anything. We foresee them being worth 1 cent in the future. They have no future. And then everyone goes, oh, and they panic and they sell, and the price goes, and then they file a huge lawsuit for destroying investor wealth or whatever against the companies, and ties up in court. And then they do all these other, PR press releases about how they're being sued and all these things. And the lawsuits are totally bogus, but it ties up the company in court for years. And then they just keep writing about it to try and get the company to die. And they did that with metamaterial, and it's just so sketchy. These Kerrisdale dudes are a bunch of dicks. And they're like, Citadel is slimy. Melvin is slimy. But the Kerrisdale dudes, those guys are like used car lot / ambulance chaser slimy. They are just the grossest short sellers out there. They are like bargain bin short sellers. They're gross. Great. Houston, can you explain California's Salton Sea again? Will it produce toxic dust if completely dries out? Okay. All right. Let's go to Salton Sea. Okay. Salton Sea down here in Southern California. So, Indio Valley here. Like, you got Palm Springs and the Coachella concerts are all here. And then the Salton Sea. So, Salton Sea is a floodplain that when the Colorado River will go nuts. So the Colorado River comes down through here and dumps out of Mexico. And now it dries out and it doesn't even make, the water doesn't even make it through Mexico to the mouth of the river. But before all the dams and all the people lived in Arizona and Las Vegas and Southern California, the river would flow, and every once in a while it would have a big year, be big monsoons or huge snowmelt, and it would flood. And it would flood up through the Indio Valley, creating a huge temporary lake here. In the 1920s, there was a giant flood, huge flow of waters before the Grand Canyon, before Hoover Dam and all those, and big giant flood filled up the entire valley. And this depression, which actually the floor of is well below sea level, kind of like Death Valley, filled the whole thing up and made this giant lake. And the lake just didn't go away. And eventually, all of this irrigated farming here, and these guys have just huge allotments of water from the Colorado. They're allowed to irrigate year round, so year round vegetables come from this whole area. They feed so much of America in veggies in this place. And the runoff made the Salton Sea pretty much permanent. And it was beautiful. They call it what was the Redneck Riviera or whatever back then. And they started building resorts, and there's all sorts of things. Like up here, this North Shore, Mortimer. Is this where the yacht club is? No, that's the little town of North Shore. Crap, where am I? Yacht Club, Yacht Club, Yacht Club, Yacht Club. Where are you, Yacht Club? Bertram, this Bombay Beach? Yeah, it's Bombay Beach. The Yacht Club's got to be up here. You get to the Yacht Club before you ever get to Bombay Beach. Where are you, Yacht Club? Oh, that's Varner Harbor. This is the Yacht Club. So they built like a huge yacht club with docks and ships and all sorts of things, and people bought boats and they made hotels, and people filled up. All the Hollywood elite in the 1940s and 50s would come here on vacation, and Elvis would come and whatnot. And then the runoff from all of the nitrate fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides and everything else filled up the lake and caused this huge die-off of like everything. And now it's so salty and so toxic that nothing can live in here. And so if you drive down the highway and you go by the Salton Sea, all of a sudden you get hit with this smell. And it's the smell of like old, decaying fish. And it's so gross. And it fills your lungs and your nose and your mouth. And it's like 105 degrees. And it's just humid and gross. And it smells so bad. And if you go down the beach, you see like, oh, look at this nice white sand beach. It's like Bombay Beach here. Look at this beautiful white sand beach. There's a big sandy beach down here. And you get down and you realize that all this white stuff you see are the bones of trillions of dead fish. That's all it is. All this white stuff is just trillions and trillions and trillions of dead fish. Everywhere that is white are the bones of fish. Everything died. It was just so gross. Bombay Beach itself, they had to build a big dike here. But in the early 80s, the lake level had so much runoff from everything that it flooded the entire town. So if you go into Bombay Beach, there's still abandoned houses in here, like the mobile home park. There's still mobile homes that are abandoned. You can look in the windows, and there's like dinner sitting on the table from 1981. For people who are just like in the middle of dinner, this water level rose up, and they go, fuck this, and they left and never came back. There's still a few people that have eked out or squatted or got some houses here, but they built a dike along this wall to keep the lake level from flooding again. If you played Grand Theft Auto 5, that little town that Trevor lives in was designed after Bombay Beach. And the lake here is Salton Sea is supposed to be basically I can't remember the name of the lake in Grand Theft Auto 5. But there's another cool thing happening There's hot springs, all sorts of weird water wells up here. Is this it? Is this the... There's a sinkhole that's moving. I think... Is Frank the sinkhole? Shoot, where's the sinkhole? It's down here. This might be the sinkhole. Nope, that's not the sinkhole. There's a giant sinkhole that appeared a couple years ago in 2017, and it's moving. It's like moving slowly across the highway and destroying the highway, and they keep having to like reroute and rebuild. And it's gigantic. They tried shutting it off. They tried building dike systems, all sorts of things, and they can't figure out where this thing's coming from or what it's doing. It's somewhere along here. Is that sinkhole? It's pretty neat. These satellite photos might be too old for the sinkhole if they're from prior to 2017. But yeah, so they have to like move the entire highway. So anyway, Salton Sea, if it dries up, which it won't because there's so much runoff from all this irrigation. But if it did dry up, it would definitely be toxic. There are so many carcinogens in all those herbicides and pesticides that have washed into there. I would not trust the dust from that. And it would be so hot. You'd be so far below sea level. You're far enough south with lots of sunlight, not enough plants. It'd be like Death Valley times 10 here in the Salton Sea. It'd be pretty gross. Okay. Avon Ox feels like Adam Aaron is trying to dilute the stock to raise capital via APE instead of AMC since it requires shareholder vote. Since APE will be non-diluting dividend, unit holders have limited vote rights. It's true. And that's what he may be trying to do that at some point. Scott, Jesus Christ, go to bed. Scott, they're talking about your lovely homage to my stalker in your intro video you made for me. So there. All right. But yeah, it may be backhanded. I mean, it may turn out that Adam Aaron did exactly what I've been thinking he would do the entire time. But right now, I think with the quick announcement and the issuance of these things, at least for a couple of months, it's going to be a wild ride with the APE shares. I don't think it's going to quite go nuts yet, or quite hurt us yet, I should say. Okay, J. King Houston about dividend shares, and the ones I received in my account are supposed to be marked separately as dividend shares. Thanks. They won't be marked separately as dividend shares. Are you talking about GME? GME should just be shares. On your statement, when you get your monthly statement, it should say share dividend. But instead, it says stock split for people. It's not a stock split. Yeah. Jonathan. Sorry if this was asked. Am I the only one that thinks AA is going to use this to get more money for AMC and screw over apes? That is the question a lot of people have. I think we're going to have to just wait and see exactly how it goes. I'm curious. I'm hoping that I got some AMC calls that I was like, I should sell them. No, I'll wait one more day. I'll wait till after earnings. And then they got hit really hard with the shorting. I was like, But, it stayed hovered flat, so it didn't go any further. That's okay. So, AMC down to 1670. Get back up to 19, buddy. Go to 20. Go to 30. Go higher. But we'll see. We will see. Michael Steegs. Houston, on Twitter, I'll let you know that I sent a complaint to the Dutch financial authorities. They will not act over GME dividend because, according to them, there was no direct consequence. Huh. Interesting. So, violating the law has no direct consequence. But the consequence is that share recalls didn't happen like it's supposed to. So that seems like a direct consequence. Woo! Excuse me. Sorry. It's my one sneeze of the day right there. Robert Trail, Houston looking Jack, just saying. Robert, I tell you guys, seriously, I build it fast and I lose it just as fast. But right now, I got A cups forming back. You know, we got some A cups happening, right, big dog? You agree? Lose a little bit of this, gain a little bit of this. Woo! But yeah, I build it quickly. I'm 210 right now, which is 15 more, and I'll be the heaviest buffest I've ever been. I was at, excuse me, I was at 225 during COVID when I wasn't doing anything, and that was the doughiest 225 I've ever been. But a strong 225 is, Houston looks pretty darn good with a shirt off then. So we'll get there. Give it another couple months. I'll be just yoked. Just gotta keep at it. Just gotta keep going. At least 4 days a week. That's what I'm trying to do. Because I didn't get to go tomorrow because I'm doing a Portland thing. I'll do like a 3-hour day tomorrow and do the legs and arms and everything else. Where am I? I was at Robert Paratarian. Isn't the public display of the DTCC telling brokers to mislabel the SPIVy proof RC needs to pull out? When would that 90 days kick in? Does RC need to make a filing? I think he has 30 days from when the dividend went. This is what someone else is telling me. I haven't checked it, so if you guys want to read through a bunch of legal docs, go ahead. So I'm just going on what someone else said. That Ryan Cohen has 30 days from when they issue the dividends. Then he can demand, say, hey, DTCC, you did not follow through in good faith, in accordance with what we asked, which was this whole dividend thing, and we demand our shares back for violating your contract with us. And then there's 90 days from GameStop requesting those shares back to when they actually get their shares back. So that's the amount of time everyone has to close positions and get all their little ducks in a row. And then from that point, which would be, November 22nd, theoretically, that's when the DTCC have to handle all the paperwork they have for the shares and whatever the ledger they have and give it to GameStop so GameStop can create their own ledger for trading with another system or whatever. That is basically how it goes. So that's what we're waiting on. Jonathan Houston still think MOAS is this year. Yeah. Namely because I don't think the market can hold out through the fall. They were able to plunge protect and whatnot last fall, but the cash is running dry. And, we're starting to see layoffs. We're starting to see the effects of inflation. Consumer debt has gone through the roof. Repos on cars, foreclosures on homes. There's 8 million families who rent who are about to be kicked out, evicted. Another, 3 million homes of potential foreclosure over the next year. It was 2.9 million foreclosures is what did in the economy in 2008. So we could easily break that. And home sales are going to plummet. Houses are going to be underwater. People are going to walk away from mortgages because they're like, well, I owe $1 million in this house. It's only worth $500,000. I'm out. So we're going to see some wildness. And then there's going to be, food shortages around the world. We've continuing climate crisis. Monkeypox incoming. COVID still raging. It's I see this fall kind of being when they just kind of pull the plug and go, well, do overtime. William Morgan seems pretty convinced they won't do it till after the election, which is, what's the day of the election? It's the first Tuesday in November. Oops, wrong way. So the first. The second Tuesday. First Tuesday. Second Tuesday. First Tuesday. So it's the 1st of November. So after that, after the 1st of November is when we can let the bottom fall out of everything, according to William Morgan. We'll see if we can, if everyone can keep it together that long. Chris Detloff, Adam Aaron made it clear many times that they will only be making APE to the exact amount of shares they consider the count at 516,820,595 company-issued AMC common stock. So this should show shorts. It should. Should exactly show shorts. We will see where they get there. Jonathan, and they're allowed to sell 4.5 billion shares open market. Yes. I wonder when. Well, that's an interesting number, though. The 4.5 billion shares open market is a really interesting number, because if they intend to sell them from when they launch the APE shares for everybody, and they sell those 4.5 billion shares open market then as well, that might be the estimate of how many naked shares there are, right, in AMC, and the exact amount the shorts would need to cover that position on the dividend itself. So if Adam Aaron sells those things at $1 each, they just closed all of their debt, right? If they sell them for $2 each, they now have 4.5 billion in the bank and can last 20 years on that. It may save the company, but screw over shareholders short term. I'd be curious to see how that works. And then they do some sort of reverse split or whatever, and then poof, everything is just gone again. But yeah, I'd be curious to see if they sell, because like right now GameStop could sell 700 million shares. They aren't, but they could. But they have the ability. The authorized shares exist for them to sell that many. So I'd be very curious to see what Adam Aaron does. If he just sells all these APE things, dilutes the crap out of the APE things, then has a vote for a merger, and all those apes just kind of vanish out of that again, and you're back to 516 million plus 5 million, so 520 million shares in the end, because it'd be 100 to 1 or something if they merge it back together. I'd be curious. Jason Blackwell, I don't know if APE stock will be good or bad, but you have to give points for a clever acronym. I do have to, hats off. I tip my fedora to you, sir. It is. It's good. David Morgan, Wall Street is seriously poop pants over this whole special divvy. Nice. Yeah. They're very poop pants right now. Vote no on ApeCoin. We don't need it. FUD coming in hot. Yeah. Jonathan, we do need Problemo coin. I think I need to like take a day. Maybe next. Wow, what am I doing next week? I don't think I'm going to Canada. If I find a car, there's a car in Sacramento, I may fly Monday, last minute, if I buy that car. Fly Sacramento, drive it home, be back Tuesday morning? Let's see if someone will watch the big dog for me if that's the case. But I do need to spend a day and do the Problemo coin and see if I can get it onto GME wallet. Because I can't seem to get it into my Loop Ring wallet. So maybe I see if I can get into. If I get a GME wallet, then I can pass it to everybody who has layer 2, and then I can actually do stuff with my Patreon. Because I don't play with Patreon. I need to do that. Okay. David Morgan, got to be at least $4 to list the New York Stock Exchange. So there you go. I think initially it's going to sell for the price of AMC stock. So it'll be $15, $19, $20, whatever it is, right off the bat. DVSA pounces directly into shareholders and F's them in the A. We'll see, man. I'll let HKD. HKD went. They were down. They hit the $800 today. Where were they? HKD 850. They had dropped as low as. Oh shoot! You are. Give me my line graph so I can see what's going on. They'd gone as low as 567. Man, they need an options chain so bad for this thing. You could be making fortunes of it bouncing around this way. But seriously, $300 swings. It went from 1,000 to 567 back to 850. Like, you could make $80,000 with 2 options plays on that. Ugh. I want an options chain for HKD so bad. So bad. Because it's going down to $7. It's going to, or 0. It's going to be something. Monkey butt, how are you? You want blanket? Yeah? There you go. There you go, buddy. It's kind of chilly tonight. Finally. Okay. Queen of Swords, APE, owns more than 515,000 shares. Let alone toots, hedgies, let alone toots, hedgies, and out-of-country people. So who is going to not get shares of the divvy? Probably a lot of folks. Yeah. Probably a lot of them. Yeah. Handfingers Houston, we all effectively double our money overnight with APE? I honestly don't know. To tell you the truth. I don't know. You got me, man. I don't know. Who should we send to prison first? Asked David Morgan. Griffin. Just lock that boy up. Send him away. Probably Plotkin. And then what's his butt from Cohen from .72. And everyone at Kerrisdale. Throw them all in prison at Kerrisdale. There's probably a lot of folks I haven't heard of at family funds who are doing just as sketchy stuff as these hedge funds and market makers. But because they're a family fund, they don't have to release any reports. We have no idea what they're up to. Which is where that ISDA Phase 6 thing that everyone's been talking about may come in. Is that a lot of the derivative swaps that we see, these equity swaps and debt swaps, they don't require collateral for margin. And the ISDA rules, so if you're going to do anything with these banks, they're part of the ISDA system, which is essentially every Western bank in the world, you're going to have to put up collateral at a certain percentage that will be calculated by some equation that they create, some algorithm, and before you're even allowed to do deals. So if you have, let's say, I don't know, 1 billion shares of synthetics that you're trying to trade in GameStop or XRT baskets or whatever, and you're trying to trade them with someone else, you are going to have to put up a significant amount of collateral in order to trade those shares with someone else to alleviate whatever FTDs you have coming. And a lot of these funds are not prepared for that. They don't have the cash on hand, they don't have the collateral on hand, and they may be stuck finally, holding the hot potato when the music turns off. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that works and what illegal ways folks do to get around it. And apparently with those new ISDA rules, if they do these trades with someone, they can get blacklisted. It's like they don't put up the collateral and they do a trade anyway without that collateral, they can be blacklisted, which means they wouldn't be allowed to withdraw from a bank that they're members of or buy stocks through the market. It'd be pretty crazy. Reading through it, I finally got a chance to read through it this week. It's pretty lights out. And the 50 billion, so they did it in 6 phases. So originally it was like $3 trillion in trade. So just the first huge, big players, BlackRock's and Bank of America and whatnot. and then they worked their way down, and then last September it was $50 billion. So you do $50 billion in derivative trades, you had to provide all its collateral. Well, that is still above what Archegos did. Archegos is at $30 billion, right? And so they wouldn't have been in that window anyway, but Archegos is getting away with it because they had whatever collateral they had, and they went to, let's say, Credit Suisse. And hey, Credit Suisse, give me some margin. I want to do a few $1 billion in trade. And Credit Suisse was like, well, what's your collateral? I said, this is my collateral right here. Credit Suisse went, cool. And they went to Nomura in Japan. Say, hey, Nomura, we want to do some billions of trade. And Nomura's like, well, you got some assets or management that we can make sure that, there's some value there. And he goes, yeah, I got these guys, this collateral right here. They go, cool. Nomura didn't know that Archegos was using the same collateral as they did with Credit Suisse, and they did with Goldman Sachs, and they did with JP Morgan, and they did with Merrill Lynch, and they did with Nomura. Like, they're using the same collateral 5 times over, and that's why they screwed these guys big time. So now there's going to be a paper trail for anyone doing $8 billion or more a year in derivatives, and they're going to know exactly what they own, and the collateral can only be used once. So they won't be able to, like, go bank shopping and use it over and over and over and over and over again. So it'd be pretty interesting to see what hedge funds just blink out of existence from this. Okay, Frosted Flakes, good morning from the Randy Scandies. I don't know. Oh, so Scandinavia. Okay. It's like, Randy Scandies? Duh, Scandinavia. Duh. Okay. Alex Duta, isn't the share recall supposed to be done by those that own and lent their shares? Yes. There's 2 kinds of recalls. You can do a recall of shares you lent out, and there can be a recall from the DTC itself. In this case, with the APE, it would be the lenders doing a recall so that they make sure they get their dividends. Chris Ditloff, this APE is a stock, not to be confused with the APE coin and crypto. Yep. Queen Swords, Devil Stockbroker, and Paperwork says 1 cent APE divvy will at IPO and we decide the price. I don't know if it'll enter the market with a price or not. That 1 cent is par value. Par value is completely different than actual value of the stock. Par value is insider value. That's what insiders pay for the stock. We're not insiders. We don't pay that. But again, AMC has a 1 cent par value. GME has a 1 cent par value. Berkshire Hathaway has a 1 cent par value. Google has a 1 cent par value. Meta has a 1 cent par value. GM, everything starts out with a 1 cent par value. Frozen State Productions just finished work, missed the start of the show. Do you still hate Adam Aron's leadership? Yes. But I am curious to see where this goes. And it could very well be a trap for the hedge funds, or it could be a way for Adam Aron to dilute the hell out of something and generate enough money to pay off the debts of the company, which would be great for the company. But I'm not sure where that would leave shareholders in a squeeze situation. I don't know. We'll see. If he does start selling 4.5 billion apes right off the bat, then we know we're screwed, I think. But if they hold back those authorized ape shares and they don't offer those things, then we just, we wait and see what happens that 90 days. Blair Barkley. Ken's bad, but say his plane went down, his machine, I think, would still say in fact. He's just the head of the rot. Oh, intact. I think, not in fact. Intact. No, you wrote in fact, but I think you meant intact. He definitely has underlings who are just, I think you have to be a shitty person to work at Citadel in the first place. They probably do one of those personality tests, and if you turn out like, oh, you've got morals, you can't work here. We need nothing but sociopaths and patsies. Those are the only people that can work at Citadel. So he'll have someone just as evil come in, step up, take over. Like every dictator, they've got some little awful minion who will come in and do the job once they're gone. Okay, where did I think I just, there we go, okay. Paula Nielsen's got a lot of stuff deleted here, so Paula, I don't know what's going on with you, but obviously wasn't good. Queen of Swords, on the bright side, at least we can buy gold and silver coins from Highcroft and submit ideas on the making of them. Well, that's kind of neat. I haven't had a chance to watch Boss Blunt's interview yet. If anyone else did he ask her about creating the ability to smelt ore from sulfides? That's the big thing. That $18 billion in gold they have is all tied up in sulfide ore, and it's really brutal to smelt ore from sulfides. And that, I mean, if you're going to build a site, and I pointed you guys to this before, but the big example is the Kidd Creek mine up in Timmins, Ontario. So we go up Timmins, boop, 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 boop. Right in here, you can see all the mines from space in Timmins. So this is the Kidd Creek mine. It's one of the largest copper mines on Earth. It's the deepest hole in the northern hemisphere. It goes down 11,000 feet. Is how deep the mine system goes at Kidd Creek. There's a train. Just train, follow the train line, goes to the forest, follow the train line, goes to the forest, follow the train line, goes to the forest. And this whole mess here is the Kidd Creek metallurgical site. And this facility, this group of buildings and leach mines and everything else, this is a $1 billion facility that processes an insane amount of ore from these sulfides. And Kidd Creek is mostly a copper mine. It also has silver and zinc and gold. And just from the byproduct of gold, they've done over $20 billion in gold in the last, 30 or 40 years, just as a byproduct of their copper mining. But it is a very, very huge, very expensive system to get all of the different metals out of these sulfides. Because the sulfides like to oxidize and bond with things, and they're a pain in the ass. So you have to do all sorts of chemical treatments every step of the way to get the copper out, to get the silver out, to get the zinc out, to finally get the gold out, and so on. There's even nickel in there. And, it cost $1 billion like 20 years ago to build this place. And this type of facility that Highcroft's going to have to be able to get anything out of those sulfide-rich ores that they have at their site. And looking at satellite photos, we can go to the Highcroft site. Doop, 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 doop. Let's fly down to Nevada. There's Nevada. Winnemucca. There it is. This is the Highcroft site here. And I don't see... They got this little facility. In the video that the CEO released today, she showed their like smelting room, and it's not any bigger than what I have in my garage. Like, I've got just sophisticated equipment in my garage as they have, just without the fancy suits. This entire site is quarter mile across, parking lot to parking lot. The buildings are tiny, and we go out to the Kidd Creek one again. Flying away. Come on, keep going north. There we go, Kidd Creek, Timmins, flying to Timmins. Follow the train tracks. Here we go, Kidd Creek site. Kidd Creek site, I mean, we've got almost 3/4 of a mile across is their site alone. And they got individual buildings pretty much as big as the entire work area of their processor and smelter. This is the tailings pile here of the Kidd Creek mine. So all those train cars come in, they offload this place, grind it to a pulp, put it in a truck. The truck just dumps in this pile here. So it is literally the tallest thing around is the Kidd Creek mine tailings pile. It's like the only hill in the entire area. Everything else, the joke is you can watch your dog run away for days. But it is the tallest thing around. Is this big old pile of crushed ore that they've squeezed every last little piece out of the can. And if the Kid Creek mine plays out, they can still operate and get ore for all the other mines. The Porcupine mine, the Hollinger mine, the Dome mine. I can't remember the name of this one. But these are all mine sites friggin' everywhere up here. Mines all over the place. It's the largest gold strike in human history is in this basically like 15-mile diameter circle. So they can lease out their facility. But Hycroft wouldn't necessarily be able to do that. So they're going to have to put a lot of money out of pocket on that. Okay. Schnozberries taste like schnozberries. Okay, Samuel Chang, Houston, love the channel. Thank you. 2 questions. Moss before the end of the year, and what happens with metamaterial? Moss before the end of the year, metamaterial, won't answer. Sorry. Promise my brother I wouldn't. Okay. Billy. Good morning, Houston. Thoughts on some UVXY calls next 2 weeks? I think the SPY is due for a little dip. It's too high. Way too high. I mean, there was a tweet I saw earlier that was like, stocks rise on fears of World War III and recession. It's like, why are we here, man? What are we doing? What's going on? What's going on, dude? Why is the SPY rocking so hard? Amazon doing worse. Walmart doing worse. Target doing worse. Right? Car companies doing worse. Banks doing worse. Food companies doing worse. The people who are kicking ass right now, oil companies. And, people don't like it when oil companies kick ass. They tend to start, coming out against them. So, I don't know why the SPY is doing what it is. It should come down. I don't know if it will come down the next 2 weeks. I do have a put for next Friday, just in case. But we might have to wait for fall for any real drops. It should be back down to the 360s, but I don't know if it will be anytime soon. Carl Alit, can't they just create synthetic ape shares? They can, but it gets hard to cover if they do. They having an options chain will make it easier, but they won't have an options chain right off the bat. And if this ISDA thing kicks in, a lot of those folks, if they do create them, they get the T35. They may not have the ability to do swaps in order to sort of cover their position or cover their cover, essentially. So I am very curious to see how it turns out. I need to read more about it and read more people's opinions before I can really develop sort of a clear picture as to what I think is going to happen. But, I've been wrong many, many times. So I'm just going to assume that I'm wrong about this and just wait and see what happens. Queen of Swords also asked y'all here about the MEGL IPO, Megal IPO starting tomorrow. It's supposed to be another HDK pre-order over, but it starts in morning, in and out by Monday play. I've not heard about it. MEGL. Magic Empire Global Limited announced pricing of initial, it's the Hong Kong one, 7 hours ago. Is a financial service provider in Hong Kong which principally engaged in the provision of corporate finance advisory services and underwriting services. So essentially, they're doing an IPO of a company that does IPOs, it sounds like. There we go. Come on. Gotta go Magic Empire Global Limited. What a dumb name. Okay. Through an offering of 5 million ordinary shares priced at $4 per share. The ordinary shares have been approved for listing on the NASDAQ capital market and are expected to commence trading August 5th, 2022 on the ticker symbol MEAGLE. The aggregate cross proceeds from the offering will be $20 million before deducting underwriting accounts and other expenses. The offering. Oh, you guys can't see. How come it didn't? Oh, I didn't turn it on. There we go. Sorry. The offering is expected to close on or about August 9th, subject to the satisfaction of customary closing conditions. Offering is being conducted on firm commitment basis. Network One Financial Securities Incorporated is acting as sole book runner and lead underwriter for the offering. Registration statement, Form F1, blah, 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 blah. All right. So basically, press release. Before you invest, you should read the prospectus and other documents the company has filed with the SEC. For more information about the company and offering, this press release does not constitute an offer to sell or solicitation offered by. All right. Forward-looking statements. So $4. It was $7.50, I think, is what HKD was originally offered at, AMTD, whatever you want to call it, and then rocketed from there. And it was 15 million shares for them. So this is $5 million and $4. I mean, is it worth getting 50 shares for the hell of it, just to see what happens? Maybe. I'm a gambling man. MEGL. Let's see what happens. I'm up on a couple of calls this week. Maybe I can throw $200 at it, see what happens. Get 50 shares. I'd be curious. Be curious, Queen of Swords. Thank you for the little tip there. Daily. I think Adamir is trying to use APE as incentive because he knows the MOAS will occur before any sort of decision is made on allowing APE to convert to AMC and vice versa, aka in return, come back low. Yeah. I think that's kind of perhaps what they're looking at, is that they can play this trick. MOAS can happen and then they can worry about everything else later. Yeah. Blair Barkley? Yes, I think we are on a washing machine. Yeah. So who's this Paula Nielsen? What's happening with her? All right. Queen of Swords, isn't monkeypox going to affect AMC again like COVID did? Yeah. Here's the thing about monkeypox. Is that, yes, the initial folks who are getting it are homosexual men who have multiple partners. Because skin-to-skin contact, says monkeypox, is a great way to transmit. But monkeypox is a DNA virus. It lasts for a long time on surfaces. Up to 2 weeks, 15 days in linens, on tabletops without being cleaned. So picture bus seats, subway seats, benches, hotel comforters, couches, office chairs, movie theater seats, airplane seats, massage therapist tables, you name it. You can transmit it in water, just like polio. So possibly public pools, hot tubs, hot springs, you name it. And it's made its way into the sewage systems. So it's into the sewage systems, which means, and rats can get it. So rats can be a transmitter of it. So they can get it, climb around in your house, whatever, leave little monkeypox around. Kids are gross. Starts getting the child population and starts passing through schools because kids change classrooms. They go from seat to seat, lunchrooms, whatever. They like to pick their scabs, and they're just gross little boogers. It can be gnarly, and we already have a doubling rate of 6.5 days. Every 6.5 days, we have twice as many cases as we did the week prior. And we haven't started school. I mean, it hasn't really made a big dent into the rest of the population, but then again, we're only testing gay men. I've heard multiple stories of people who have monkeypox. A woman got it from handling cash at a gas station. She's a gas station attendant. Another woman was a masseuse and got it. And the hospital won't even test them because they weren't gay men. But they still had monkeypox. Other people can get monkeypox. So we definitely have the potential to see mass infections if the wrong person gets it, and they happen to, ride the bus every day, take the train every day, work in food service at a cafeteria, whatever. So, yeah, if you got a bunch of people with monkeypox sitting in cloth seats that don't get covered in viricide, AMC might get hit kind of hard with it if it starts to be everywhere. It does sound like the government is starting to invest, because they declare a state of emergency, that they will start to invest in the development of vaccines. But then again, we got anti-vax people, and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to take a vaccine for that. And we'll have a third of the population just passing monkeypox around. And it's just going to be all over again. Like, we just did this, guys. And you aren't going to learn your lesson. No one's going to learn the lesson from this. Sorry. Okay. Daphne, I don't think it's airborne, though. It can be airborne if you're in close proximity. It can get in your eyes, mouth, nose. If it gets on your skin, gets an open wound. Yeah, you can go blind from it if you get pox in your eyeballs, which would be awful. It's not necessarily fatal for adults, but people with compromised immune systems and children. The fatality rate in children is like 3 to 15%, which is really high. I mean, can you imagine, 1 in 30 kindergartners dying from monkeypox? That's different than COVID, where old people were dying, because people just don't seem to care about old people. Like, old people die all the time, whatever, I don't care. But when you see school kids biting the bullet because of monkeypox, then people will clutch their pearls and go, oh my gosh, that's so much potential. And they may freak out some more. Okay. DVS Houston already let the shorts out when he diluted the float last time by 10x. Yeah. Daphne buy checks in the future for monkeypox. Maybe I'm going to check you for ticks. Possibly. Drop trowel, bend over, show me what you got. Okay, you look fine. What was that tweet that I saw? It was, if you enjoyed the game allergies or COVID, you're going to love mosquito bite or monkeypox. I don't know if ultraviolet light will do monkeypox. Let me see here. Look this up real quick. Surfacide claims that UV light kills monkeypox. Alright. But I'm not finding tests that show that yet. There's only certain virucides that seem to kill monkeypox. Like Scotchgard doesn't do it. Alright. Huh. Alright. I'll have to look at that more. You son of a bitch, I'm in. Lots of deleted messages. What are these folks up to that I keep getting deleted? Bear Barkley. If the world is still here September 23rd, I'm going to see Rod Stewart, Caesar's Palace Coliseum, Yay Party. Poopy pants. So, my family used to go up to Oak Harbor and Whidbey Island every summer and do this thing called Race Week. It's like 5 days of sailboat racing with a bunch of other people who have shitty sailboats like ours. And then the night before the last day of racing, you sneak out in the middle of the night and you use electrical tape to change the name of everyone's boats. And there's a guy that had this beautiful J boat, like J100 or something, and his name is Rod. It's from my town, and his boat is called Rodster, and I changed it to Rod Stewart. He was so mad. Like, like my dad's boat, Smiling Jack, got changed to Pile of Crap. Shoot the Moon became Shit on Me. Can't remember all the other ones. There's a boat called the Brass Bounder. You can imagine what we changed the Brass Bounder to. But Rod Stewart. Yeah, put my pants. Colin Halligan. So wait, what happens if we don't get our dividend? Defaults, baby. Lots of defaults. Boom. Ultra mega thoughts on Meagle. Like the Queen just mentioned it, so I don't know. We'll see what it's all about. I mean, $4. If I can get it for $4 tomorrow, it might be worth buying 50 or so and see where it goes. 7 cents. Houston isn't ISDA Phase 6 nothing burger. The prime brokers are already affected by Phase 1 through 5, but it doesn't really stop them from doing crime. Well, because they can put up prime brokers can put up collateral, because they can pull collateral out anywhere. It's the family funds. There's $7.7 trillion in family funds that are below that $50 billion level that are now going to be affected by this. Those guys can't necessarily put up collateral because they've done too many trades to begin with what meager collateral they have now. So you've got groups like Archegos that had started out with $800 million in assets and were doing $30 billion in margin trades. So they came undone because they did not have the capital to back up the trades they were doing. And there's a lot of family funds out there that do this, that do not have to report their holdings and do not have to report anything. So they can use the same collateral over and over and over again and bank shop. I think it may, if there are regulators that can pay attention to this stuff, it may put a halt to how much trading those folks are doing. And I think it may put a halt to a lot of the swap market that we see. Well, these swaps won't be able to happen if they can't put up a boatload of collateral to make it happen. Queen of Swords, SEC took some rule away from options plays, giving back a loophole for hedge funds to manipulate more. Forgot the name of the rule was. What they did with options plays, or the proposed rule, is generally you're only allowed to do options on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which for most companies they only do Fridays. But now they're going to open up Tuesdays and Thursdays so that options can be any day of the week. And it will only be if companies allow it to happen. But the options market's going to get really confusing. All of a sudden, having options expiring every single solitary day, it's going to be wild. The only time you really see options on like Wednesdays, Fridays are like these ETFs that track indexes. Those ones do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But you don't see it from like traditional exchange traded stocks. So I'll be curious to see what that was. Oh, I forgot to mention company that I talk about quite a bit, No Labs, filed an S1 to sell some more shares and to be listed in New York Stock Exchange, which is a big deal. That tells me that their human trials are going really well, and they expect to have something approved for market by the FDA. And it might be a big player in the non-invasive glucose monitoring sector, which they'd be the first ones to enter that market. Okay. Oh, and where'd you go? Mr. Deadshot, Houston, thank you for all that you do. Smooth brains like me would be screwed without people like you. Well, thank you, Mr. Deadshot. I thank you guys, because you guys find all sorts of articles to send me, and my brain grows 2 sizes like every week because of how much I have to read from what you guys send me. And I can't always get to it in time, and it's easier for me to read things than it is for me to like watch videos. But if you give me articles, I try to get through them and see what they're about and try to incorporate that into what other information in my head and make it chunk fit in there. But I appreciate every article that's sent to me. I read. I love reading. I read a lot. Donna Thornton, for what's worth, Citadel has sent a request to SEC on how to gather data. It's interesting. It dropped today, and SEC has it open public input. Could you take a look into it? Donna, I will. If someone has a link for it, send it to me. I'll check it out. JH22B, Wade, just buy AMC and hedge both sides. Hedge price up and down. Us AMC apes know that you GME apes should know that. Problem is, we are divided over what? I hate listening to you real GMEH sledge us. Yeah, guys. Everything's shorted. I don't. There's also such talk that AMC is a hedge against GME. They're in the same XRT basket. They're both being shorted like crazy. Everything's short. Shorted here, shorted there. Short. Even Amazon has like boatloads of short sells on them. Because if you can sell naked and not have to ever pay it back, you will, and you will gladly sell a share worth $1,000 you just made out of thin air. You never have to pay it back, wouldn't you? I would, right? If I had that ability to like just sell things that don't exist for $1,000, on it. Oh, I'm bankrupt. Sorry, guys. On to the prime brokers problem now. Darren Bowen, Houston, GC, Dr. Diane from Highcroft and Boss Blunts. I didn't have a chance to see it yet. I might tomorrow. Let's see if I can get to it tomorrow. DVS, if Adam Aaron had sold some AMC shares at $70 on the market, he would have already fixed AMC's debt problem. But he sold them out the back door for how much? Do we even know? What was that? What? Like $15, 11 million shares, $15. So 150 million bucks. Oops. I didn't really do it. Because then the next day it went to 70. Yeah. David Wayne, you infect our brains with your knowledge. David Wan, sorry. Chris Detloff. Bleh. Houston, can you give a shout out to Justin, my best ever neighbor who moved away to Florida? Thanks. Justin, Chris misses you very much and wishes that you would move back because he wants you as a neighbor again. Okay. Jim, I just read the preferred shares are worth 100 votes apiece at the shareholder meeting. So if somebody buys 5 million shares, it's 500 million votes, and they could vote to dilute. I think it's the other way around. I think they're worth one vote, and the other shares are worth 100 compared, or you need 100 shares to get one vote, something like that. Jim. Okay. Dust G. Harper got rid of the penny. JT sold 90,000 of all Canada's gold reserves. The mint is private. As a nation, Canada has 0 gold. What country owns that mine? Xstrata is the owner. Xstrata is a privately owned company. Let's see here. Xstrata. Oops, I put the S in there. Xstrata, Anglo-Swiss. So they're based in Switzerland. Registered office in London. Major producer of coal, world's largest exporter of thermal coal, copper, nickel, primary vanadium, zinc, world's largest producer of ferrochrome, and operations in 19 countries across Africa, Australasia, Europe, North America, South America. They're a huge company. They do $31 billion in revenue every year, but they're privately owned. Yeah, they reverse IPO. They bought up all the shares and they just became private a couple years ago. They're huge. They're a really big player in the mining industry. So if they were a public company, they'd be probably $200-300 billion company. Strata's pretty giant. A lot of the mines in Canada are owned by all sorts of groups. The Kid Creek mine used to be called the Texas Gulf Sulfur Mine, and that was a company that was based in Texas that would mine the sulfurs and get the stuff out of it. Dome and Hollinger, I think, were Canadian owned. Probably Porcupine as well. I don't know who does the Sudbury mines now. Yeah. But you have to remember, the Queen of England owns most of Canada and probably owns 10, 20, 30 trillion dollars in minerals that are unexplored on Queensland. That's going to be worth a lot. How much land? How much crown land in Canada? 3,431,041 square miles is crown land. So that's the entire size of the continental United States of America is owned by the Queen of England. Yeah. So, yeah. That's crazy. That's a lot of land that's unexplored. That's hard to explore. It's covered in frost and bugs and everything else. That's nuts. That's why the Queen is rich. Okay. Blair Barkley, don't swim in a tailings pond. Never swim in a tailings pond. It's a great way to get a third eye and a fourth arm or whatever. Does G share count clears Hedges books? Where are the final receipts? I honestly don't know. The DTCC has all the receipts, but they won't ever let anyone ever look at it. Billy. If APE is going from AMC greater than CS greater than DTCC, from AMC to CS to DTCC to brokers shareholder, can the DTCC create synthetics while it has the shares in their hands? I don't know, because the brokers are the ones that usually create synthetics. Because the brokers create synthetics when there's failures to deliver. So you may get synthetics from the brokers in your account for these APE Excuse me, I had a huge meal before I came on the show, and I'm very burpy, hiccupy right now. I'm hiccuping like, all right, monkey, you want your blanket. I know you want your blanket. You just love your blanket. Especially now it's not 9,000 degrees. But, yeah. Okay. So the brokers would create synthetics and put them into your account, theoretically. And those synthetics would already be considered defaulting obligations for whoever sold naked in the first place. And that 90-day clock would be associated with those synthetics. So if the brokers don't get a real APE share delivered, hi big dog, in 90 days, then they're required to liquidate whoever created that stuff and go out in the market and buy the APE shares to make good on those positions. Hi, buddy. Yes, you are a big giant monster. Yes, you are. You're a big giant monster. Yeah. You saw me put a blanket on Monkey, and then you were like so jealous that she gets a blanket and you get what? Nothing. Because you are just a giant Wookiee. Yes, you are. You're just a Wookiee. You're like what snuggling Chewbacca would be like. Right? Yeah. Okay. J. King GMG Graphene has 2 tickers, which is the correct one to invest in the battery development. GMGMF, that's the one that is the one traded on the I can't remember which Toronto exchange it is, TSX or something. That's the one for the graphene company. There might be one traded in Australia too, but I don't know. I just bought the one on the Toronto exchange. Daphne, Houston, did you see that Cinema agreed to vote yes on the environmental bill? It's the Inflation Reduce Inflation Act, whatever they're calling it now. So long as they remove the tax hikes for hedge fund managers, so corrupt like Manchin. Man, Sinema, she used to be a Green Party person before she elected. She was a member of the Green Party, and now all she does is what she can for like the biggest banks and hedge funds and polluters. It is so pathetic. That lady sucks. Oh, I didn't mean to drop that. I'll need that for later when where'd it go? There it is. I need that lens cap, buddy. Keep my camera in good shape. Yeah, no, she sucks so bad. And I think she's gaming to like become a I don't know, lobbyist or something. But the thing is that none of her colleagues like her. So don't you put your head on the keyboard. I know what you're trying to do. You don't do that. Don't put it on the keyboard. I think she's trying to become a lobbyist because she knows she's not going to win whatever election she's got come up next. But the thing is that no one likes her. And to be a lobbyist, you have to be able to have like relationships with other people who are members of Congress, to be able to like, you know, get lunch with them and whatever. I don't think any of them like her and want to hang out with her or spend any time with her. So I think she'd make a really shitty lobbyist. But she'll get her 6 years in and her $80,000 a year pension. And who knows what will happen to her after that. Daphne, Paul Nielsen was mad, rambling about Satan and pedophiles, whacked out stuff. Oh yeah, you can go, Paula. You can go find someone else's thing to go hang out there. Okay, Cody, AA says the dividend is like a split. So if AMC trades at $20, we get one $10 AMC and one $10 APE share. I guess? And then they'll trade independent of each other after that? I don't know, man. Jazz Cabbage. What search engine did you use? I just pop things into Google, man. Easy peasy. Flubber. Can't you see me? Houston, what would happen if GME took all their shares in the blockchain they made? Wouldn't it get rid of the IOUs that we have in the brokers? Thanks. Those IOUs have to be closed. And they would have 90 days from saying, hey, DTCC, I want my shares. And so the DTCC says, okay, in 90 days, they're going to get their 76 million shares or 304 million shares, whatever it is now. Everything has to close. It means every share has to be recalled, and you cannot have any IOUs left. And all the brokers have to tell anyone who generated a fake share, you got to close your position or I'm going to liquidate you and force you to close. And it would be MOAS trigger 100%. We've been talking about them doing that since like April of last year as potential. And Ryan Cohen is very hip and with it. And you know he's hiding out on those boards and reading everything. He knows what's going on, man. He knows. Big dog, you are just an ear slut right now. Oh, just scratch that ear hole. He can't. Oh, yeah. Need a little wine? You want to do a little ear wine? Yeah, is it so good you got a wine? Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good spot when he does the wine. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a monkey zombie, a monkey ghost with a blanket. Yeah, oh, that was good, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. You lost your balance, couldn't you? You can't hold yourself up. That was so good. Yeah, what do you... Oh, are you going to be the Emperor? The Emperor Palpatine? Yes. Yes, feel the hate. Strike him down with it. Side eye while one eyeballing in the blanket. Okay. Hey, buddy. Where was I? Shoot, my thing just reset again. Dang it. Where was I? Oh. Blair Barkley. Houston. Echo. IBM brain. Do the math. We are not going to swing the weather back way too late. Way too little's been done. Way too late. Talking about climate change? Oh, yeah, we're fucked. If we don't actively plant, I don't know, 40 trillion trees and set up 10,000 CO2 eating machines that can convert CO2 into something that's sink in the ground, we're screwed. Temperature's going to go up. We're going to make so much of the world uninhabitable. It's going to be really brutal the next like 30 years. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. And we're not going to have seasons we can depend on. It's going to either be like pissing rain or scorching. And we'll pretty much have like those two seasons all year for a lot of places. There was somebody in one of the chats under one of the videos trying to get me to talk about cloud seeding. And they're like, hey, don't you see this cloud seeding? The U.S. government's doing cloud seeding everywhere. I'm like, the U.S. government isn't doing cloud seeding, man. If we were doing cloud seeding, it'd be raining. But we're going through the largest drought. Like half this country's going through a 1,000-year drought. If we were seeding clouds, it would not be the drought happening. We're not seeding. We're not doing cloud seeding. The only place I know actively doing cloud seeding is Dubai. And they send these drones up in the summertime into the high marine layer clouds they have. And they do these huge electrical discharges across the clouds, and it forces downpours and cools everything off. And I have no idea what that does for weather downstream from someone else. Like all that moisture might move over into Iran or something and rain on them, and they might be sucking it up for them. I have no idea what the consequences are of. You just stare at me, dog, all times. Of doing that kind of work. Would you go back down your little hole? But yeah, we're not doing cloud seeding in the U.S. We aren't spending any time or effort on that whatsoever. Okay, where was I? That was the flubber one. Jazz Cabbage, appreciate you sharing your take on Pox. Good to have a narrative on all sides. We got Jim, Mike, Billy, Flubber. People just like doing names twice, don't they? Junior Mint 007. If it comes out there are no synthetics, AMC is a wrap. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point, is that they have a bunch of synthetics because they've been shorting. And if it turns out there's no synthetics, then that's that. Done, son. But AMC is now profitable. So at least the bill will trade on fundamentals from that point forward. And when they were trading on fundamentals before, they were $40 a share. So, but that was when there's 50 million shares. Yeah. So yeah. Cubus from the Netherlands, welcome. Jane King, Houston, I'm confused about the stock dividend in the UK. My brokers say the shares were listed by the DTCC as a stock split, not a dividend. Doesn't seem to be anything I can do about it. Yeah, it may be U.S. regulators have to do something about the DTCC, but everyone's terrified of the DTCC, so no one regulates it. Which is why RC may have to do the give me my shares, I'm going to take them somewhere else thing. That might be what we have to rely upon. I'd be curious to see what happens at the 90 days regardless. But it's very interesting. The QSIP should change with this stock dividend, and I don't think the QSIP is changing. Corey Andrews, any new info on Sears? Nothing new. They're still they were assigned a new judge, and they got new omnibus hearings. They were going to try to do mediation, but apparently they have some more omnibus hearings. But still, it's at 16 cents or something still, so it's still up there. Where are you? SHLDQ. 15 cents. Was at 17 at one point today. Started at 12, went to 17, back down to 15. It's a couple of spikes, 16, 17. Got as high as 19 in July. Back in June, up to 24 cents. So we had a little mountain that we climbed here recently. Going back up again. Where am I? Jay Morris, Houston, what is your opinion on B Big halt for T12? B Big, they had a crazy rise. Was it today or yesterday? I mean, they're at 73 cents right now, which is just terrible. I mean, they've been going down. But a little bit of rise in May when they announced the tide thing. It's just been downhill ever since. So their high this year, highest they were this year was 353 in January, and now they're at 73 cents or whatever. I don't know what the halt is necessarily for. Where's my article? There's my article. Okay, T12 Nasdaq halt when stocks get called the principal's office. Okay, so this is Yahoo Finance from back in November. So Dry Ships Incorporated earns the title of Wall Street's strangest stories. The owner of dry bulk carriers and offshore support vessels saw its stock trading in the low single digits for the past few months, but something unusual happened over the past week. The stock closed at $5.10. Just a few days after the stock was trading in the triple digits and recorded 1,500% return ahead of Wednesday's market open. The stock traded above the $120 a share, but was halted by the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. Whenever a stock is halted, there's a code assigned to the company. For the most common stock, that code is T1, which is slapped on the company ahead of a pending release of material news. Less common, but still frequent halting code is T5, which is put in place when a stock moves at least 10% in a 5-minute period. So that's the halt you get as a circuit breaker. Dry ships halted on T12. One of the more common trading halt codes is T12, which is what was assigned to dry ship stock halt. The T12 halt code is put in place when the NASDAQ exchange requests additional information from the company. NASDAQ exchange is likely questioning why the stock soared from around $5 a share to above $120 per share in just a week. As of Thursday morning, dry ships could not comment on the stock halt. Now what? According to FINRA, a trading halt can last up to 10 business days and issued when the SEC believes the investing public may be at risk. The SEC holds the authority to halt trading a stock based on trading activity alone, even if the company is up to date in its regulatory filings. So basically, the T12 means something fishy is going on, NASDAQ's trying to get to the bottom of it. So be big, maybe things are dropping too much, and NASDAQ's trying to figure out why, or be big filed something wrong. I don't know. The T12 is weird, and it's kind of a something weird is going on halt. So we're going to stop trading until we get to the bottom of it. And I don't know what it is that B Big has that could cause them to halt like that. Where's a Reddit article that we were on? Here to get that. It just says uncommon trading halt. So, yeah. Yeah. So I don't know why they got halted or for what reason, but we'll see. Hopefully it's to shake out some shenanigans by hedge funds and not the company itself. But the company, they've got a boatload of debt, and they need to start producing stuff. Their financials don't look that great at the moment, so I'd like to see where it goes. Ooh, Miggy Smalls. You want to send me? Where is this? This is somewhere in Northern Europe. It looks like. Where are we going, Miggy? Where are we going? Shabam, shabam, shabam. Flying. We're going. And shaboom. Is that Denmark? We're a nice beach. Look at these little hut things. There's 10 million of them. We are at a carport? At a beach? Denmark? Alright. Well, here we are. Hopefully got an ocean view from this house. Not too much in the way there. Got clear. I got one house in the way. But you can drive on this beach. A lot of people parked here, hanging out. What are these little hut things? These are like change rooms? Are they? There's just hundreds of them. Do you get to like have lunch in here? What is this thing? I don't know what these are. There's a stream. Kind of chaos the way these houses are organized in the dunes. I don't know what I'm looking at, Miggy, but welcome to the Baltic, I guess. Probably having just a great time out there this time of year. All right. Blair Barkley, Sulphur Springs will cure all your skin ailments for sure. Thermopolis, Wyoming, one of the best I've ever been to. Thermopolis is rad. Also, it's the mouth to the Wind River Canyon, which is one of the coolest places you'll ever drive through. I've talked about Wind River Canyon before. So, Thermopolis is Riverton here. So there's Thermopolis. Well, you guys can't see what I'm doing. So I'm in Wyoming. So there is the outline of Wyoming. And there's a big uplift mountain range here. Basically a big block went ka-chunk like this. And the top of it's young and the bottom of it is like, it's a big cliff and it's 1 billion years old. And so you come through this canyon from Thermopolis and the canyon walls get steeper and steeper and steeper and steeper and steeper. And it feels like you're going downhill. But the river is going the opposite direction. It will mess up your brain as you drive into this canyon from the north. It just feels like you are going downhill and the river is flowing uphill. So there's like hot springs here. There's also lots of dinosaur bones in this area. Just tons of dinosaurs to be found out here. And you wind through the canyon. It's a beautiful, gorgeous drive. There's huge blocks that come off these cliff walls that are, I don't know, how high is this? 6,009. 4,000, so 2,500 foot tall cliff walls. And there are blocks the size of a house. You can see they're carved out from up here and the rock is in the river. You're like, holy shit, that thing just came tumbling down at one time, just smashing anything in its way. It's pretty gnarly. And then on the outside, when you get to where the dam is, I can't remember the name of this lake here, Boysen Reserve, that's what it is. There are rock outcrops here cut into the rock wall that are literally like 1.5 billion years old, and they're like pink and black and weird colors. They're just gnarly. So some of the oldest exposed rocks in the U.S. And then you drive around the Boysen Reserve and you get to Riverton eventually, and then upside of Riverton, in this area you can find opals. My opal claim is up in this area. We got covered in like 20 meters of Yellowstone ash, and there was some sort of ancient lake up here, so lots of opals in the area. It's pretty cool. And then you have the Wind River Range themselves over here. But it's cool. This river goes that way, and basically it's been there for kajillions of years. And as that mountain rose and rose and rose and rose and rose, the river just kept cutting through it, kept cutting through it, kept cutting through it, kept cutting through it. And so that's how there's a river on the other side of a big mountain range. It's neat. Super neat. Daphne, oh cool, just realized so far it's a technically perfect show. Don't jinx it, Daphne. I don't know if any of this is real wood, but I'm knocking on it. It's a Formica. Totally gonna jinx me. Queen of Swords, Houston, how would they count something that's fake, synthetic, trade on a handshake? You got me, man. That stuff, beyond me. Daphne, what about planting bamboo? It grows fast. It's also invasive. The best thing to do is to plant native trees and native lands than it is to like plant things that don't belong there, because it'll displace wildlife, sometimes change the soil conditions. Like in Hawaii, they planted a whole bunch of eucalyptus from Australia, thinking, oh, it'll grow fast, we can make all sorts of lumber. But it was so wet and it grew so fast, the lumber was useless. It just split and was gross. And the leaves are so acidic that nothing could grow in the undergrowth, so all the native birds got pushed out. And it was better to have slow-growing native hardwoods like koa and ohia trees than it was to have all those eucalyptus. And now because eucalyptus aren't worth anything, you can't even make paper out of it, no one will log it. So everyone just keeps like abandoning the property, and the eucalyptus just stays. So we need to, I don't know, introduce a bunch of koala bears, eat all the leaves or something. I don't know. Daphne, what is a QSIP? It's QSIP. It is sort of the barcode for a stock. So QSIP. QSIP. Oops, wrong thing. Not that. Turn off the Google Earth. There we are. QSIP stands for Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures. A QSIP number identifies most financial instruments, including stocks of all registered U.S. Canadian companies, commercial paper, U.S. government municipal bonds. QSIP system, formerly known as QSIP Global Services, owned by the American Bankers Association and managed by Standard & Poor's Global Market Intelligence, helps facilitate clearance and settlement processes. It's basically like a ISBN for a book, or a UPC number on like a box of cookies or whatever. It's the number assigned to a stock, so that stock trades accordingly. And the number for a QSIP can change if there's a split, a merger, stuff like that. So you can get QSIP changes. A lot of times QSIP changes result in positions that needing to be closed, so that that new QSIP can be sent out with new shares. Or it should be, at least. It happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen all the time. Billy. Known, I thought those could be already bought in the open market. Yes, I'm behind the show tonight. Known is available in OTC. They aren't on a major exchange, so they're applying to be listed on a major exchange. I think because they know that their product is going to get the FDA approval, and then all of a sudden they're going to own a $30 billion a year market. There are others. Metamaterial has a similar device that they're working on. But the first market, I think, is going to be No Labs. And they'll be big. And their technology is really cool and can allow them to like point it at rocks and tell you what the mineral content is. Point it at someone's body and tell you if a virus is in their body. It is total tricorder device madness. But their first device is going to be this wearable little Fitbit type watch thing that will give you accurate, up-to-date glucose monitoring, non-invasive, so no finger pricks, and they'll take over that market in a hurry. Junior Mint 007, if you plant bamboo under someone's house, will grow through their floor? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how much sunlight bamboo needs. There was tortures in the day. Supposedly, Viet Cong would cut down bamboo, tie someone arms and legs to the ground, and then the bamboo would slowly grow through them, and it was an awful torture. And that bamboo can grow some bamboos can grow 7 feet a day, 2-3 meters a day. So it's going to get through you, and you're going to feel it just powering right through your body. Yeah. Ooh, Hot Boys and Girls were here. Hey, Love Chat XYZ. Seriously, I'll let you guys post all you want if next charity show you donate some of those pervy adult profits to whatever cause we do for our August charity show. Can you do that for me? Can you do that, Love Chat XYZ? That'd be great. I'll let you post whatever you want. Just donate to the charity. That's all I care about. Holy crap. I'm going for 2 hours. I didn't think I was going to get a 2-hour show out of this. But here I am, 2 hours later. Okay. Probably should go to bed. How far do I have to go to get through here? Alright, there's arguments going on, a bunch of deleted things, so I can avoid that. Okay, there's the adult whatever. DVS, the value of APE has to come out of AMC. If it's 50-50 value-wise, then AMC has to go down by half. Yep, and it might start from there. I would assume that's what's going to happen, that AMC will drop by half, and then that will be the launch pad for APE, but then the value from each will do its own thing from there. Okay. Okay, everybody's saying greetings. All right, I think I'm pretty much caught up here. MFFM Houston, my Hong Kong brokerage email replied to me according to their instructions from Bloomberg. Orange text, black background, image attached shown. The GME shares I received are normal stock split. That's what, because the DTC told everyone to do that, and the DTCC broke the rules. They violated the contract that GameStop has with the DTCC to be a facilitator in their trades. And I think that's what Ryan Cohn was going for, was to have the DTCC violate the good faith they're supposed to have in them. All right. Daphne's leaving. I'm gonna head out as well. It's 1 a.m. I'll be doing a daytime show at some point tomorrow. Let's see what weirdness happens. Right? Is that cool? Yeah. Monkey butt, do you have anything to add? Do you? Oh, you're so sleepy dog. That's what you have to add. This little sleepy dog under a blanket. Okay. See you guys tomorrow? Yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Catch you on the flip side. And enjoy your day. Be good to each other. And one of these. Boink.